Title track off of Bruce Hornsby's brand new album called Halcyon Days, which hits stores tomorrow. Hornsby entered the music scene back in 1986 with The Way It Is. The album went triple platinum, scoring 3 top 20 hits. Halcyon Days is his 9th album, and Bruce Hornsby joins us now. What was that on the screen right there?
You see, Ed Sullivan. That was. I was in a store in the Village, an old vintage store, and I found this Ed Sullivan sort of mask that if you turn him one way, he'd smile at you. Turn him another way, he'd frown at you. So depending on where you were in the room, he was either hating the music you're making or liking it. So yeah, that's so funny. How'd you find that?
I'm not sure. Could ask the folks out back. We have a whole archive. Tell me about Halcyon Days.
Halcyon Days is a record I made. I wrote inspired by being a parent. When it came time for me to write this record, I thought, well, what do I feel the most passionately about in my life at this time? And it was an easy answer. It was being a dad. You have to be real careful, though, when you write songs about your kids. It doesn't become trite. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't do that. So I wrote songs like Hooray for Tom, which is a song about one of my sons who was hating school. It goes, does it really help me to learn about Frederick the Great and when Rome burned? And I wish they'd skip over me when it's my turn. You may relate to that.
You looking at the world through your kids' eyes, it sounds like.
Yes, in some cases, although the current single, going to be some changes made, it's sort of autobiographical. It's about this poor bumbling guy who just can't seem to get his stuff together, with the great exception of the one verse where a girl he's liked for a long time leads him down to the grinning lake, and in it they did wade, and she took his hand and put it there. Going to be some changes made. So there can be wherever you want it to be.
You consider yourself a poet?
I just considered myself a lover of stories, and I've always been inspired by the folk song, storytelling tradition, and Southern fiction. Always wanted to sort of do my version of that in my song. So this is no different. There's also a song on this record called What the Hell Happened, which is also, it deals with people's insecurities about their appearance. We have these great family pictures in our house of my parents where they look like movie stars. And we take people into our house and they see these pictures, and the inevitable question arises, look at them, what happened to us? So, more autobiographical.
Look what a few generations can bring.
That's right. Maybe you skip the generation in this case. You know, I also have a honky-tonk history myself, you know, David.
Yes, you've worked with Travis Tritt before.
Yes, we were part of this bluegrass special, an all-star bluegrass celebration 2 years ago at the Ryman Auditorium. Just an amazing show. It's, I think it's out on CD now.
You have worked with a lot of big names in the past, and
you saw me with the Dead.
And I did see you with the Dead, and you have a few big names working with you on this album as well, and we talked about them before. Eric Clapton, Sting, and Elton John working. Are you calling in some favors here?
No favors. They've never really done me. I've never done them favors. I just thought these were these three iconic friends of mine who had always expressed interest in my music. They were always fans of mine. They said they were. So I thought I'd call them up and see if they really meant it. They're nice words in the past. So it was really simple. I called them up and they said yes. They were great sidemen, really willing to be directed in the studio. And it was great fun. I went to England to work with Clapton. He played 3 solos on the record, 3 very different guitar personalities of Eric's on 3 different songs. I got one where he plays sort of a jazzy solo, one where he's playing his classic sort of overdriven blues sound. I feel like I got Freddie King on my record, or Albert, or B.B. Another song where he plays sort of very clean, like J.J. Cale, like some of his earlier records. So Sting, Elton, they're just such great talents. It was very easy to go in the studio and just say, hey, just do what you do.
Probably the hardest part was getting him to do it, right, initially. Or
there are people with, exactly right, there are people with incredible schedules. I think last fall I found Sting on his 1 day off the entire fall. He was working his latest record, Sacred Love, I believe is the name of it, and he came to New York. I caught him a little jet-lagged, So he gave me a good solid 3 hours before he said, you know what, I'm a bit knackered, as they would say, as the Brits would say.
Do you have time when you're in the studios with them to pick up on skills and things that they do that you find of interest and can learn from also?
Well, no, you do see, though, how good they are at picking up something quickly. You know, in Sting's case, I would sing him a phrase, and he'd sing it right back to me. Perfectly phrased, just like I did. So you see that, oh yes, he's a veteran of lots of old gigs. I think he's an old wedding reception musician like I was. So he's real good at copying. Eric was very versatile in the studio. And Elton wakes up in the morning with his voice intact. No warming up, not like the rest of us phlegmatic people who have to work it out a little bit. So he just woke up, came to the studio, and bang, he was already there, just like the classic sound that you know. It was amazing to me. I asked him, I said, do you warm up? He said, no, I don't have to. So that was something.
One of the lucky ones. Halcyon Days is the album. You're on tour as well, and people can get details over at BruceHornsby.com.
That's right. We're playing till December 18th. Going to Europe next month, and then back in the States, October, November, December.
We appreciate you stopping by.
Halcyon Days. Thank you.